we're going to ask a few questions about your career and life. So then the first question is, how do you recruit students? You have very good students. So.
I recruit students primarily from like words of mouth. So my initial students were helping me to recruit my future students. So being in at UCF, you have to rely on like words of mouth and establishing pipeline, and also try to improve the visibility, but also rely on my not just mine but also my colleagues' visibility.
Nice. Sounds good. So then, what do you think is a successful PhD study?
Yeah, so it's basically it's a progression of skill. Um, Successful PhD students should be able to think critically. So when they read a paper, for example, they not only understand what the authors say, but also they know like what the authors didn't address, or if and the way the authors write to a certain argument, like why do the authors write it this way instead of a different way. And also I think to build someone who's uh, have a good social skill and have ability to understand the audience point of view instead of just the author's own point of view. Yeah, and it's philosophically, I think I used to in the past I was thinking like these are my PhD students, but now I think differently, which is like I am their advisor.
Ah.
And so now the focus is more like how to train the students, mentor them in order to improve their skill. Uh, and then papers and research are no longer the goal. So it's basically
Oh.
the means to train them. But
Oh.
the product is the students.
Oh yeah. Oh, that sounds great. Okay, so then, why did you choose academia? You should have a
Yeah.
lot of choices.
So I think at the time I interviewed both in industry and academia. Um, Primarily, I really enjoy the aspect of being able to choose the problems to work on.
Right.
Um, that I think some parts in industry have that feature as well, but not universally true. Um, and then I think the second aspect is that I look at my own personality, and I think it will be easier for me to succeed in academia than in industry.
What kind of personality do you consider?
I think when I was starting out, I was a stubborn person, right? So in industry, you need to have, you need to be more cooperative, collaborative,
Ah.
etc. Anyway, I was not aware of that, but I think my wife kind of like, you know, analyze me and say, I think I will do better in academia.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're right.
I think she was right.
Okay. So then, how do you pick a new research area, a new project?
Yeah, so in my case, every about 5 years or so, I think about what are the big problems that need to be solved, and that kind of method has helped me throughout the years. And then there are also a few advice, very good advice that I got from other people that I want to pass to the audience.
Oh, great.
So one is from my advisor, Joseph Torellas. He always said, have a bold research agenda. Don't solve small problems. Try to think of big problems. So that was useful. And then from Wen Mei Hu was in my PhD committee. He said, find a problem that has room to grow and important. And he says it's hard because if it's important problem, usually a lot of people
Yeah,
work on
right.
that, and so there's not much room to grow. If there's a lot of room to grow, sometimes it's because it's not an important problem. But finding that intersection is very important.
Oh.
And then Anil Jain, who's in image processing, he told me it's more important to give a partial solution to a new problem rather than a complete solution. to an old problem.
Oh, wow. That's
Uh,
interesting.
yeah, so I just benefit from this advice, and now I pass it to
Oh, that's very
audience. Yeah.
insightful. Thank you so much. Okay, so then how do you balance multiple tasks like your work and life, as well as
Yeah.
you have so many like roles in the academia as well?
Yeah. Yeah, this is a difficult. I found it difficult because I tend to have I have a bias to say yes when other people request that I help them with something. Uh, but I to kind of like be conscious about what the priorities are. Like I think it's important to be able to separate this is something important or not important versus urgent or not urgent. So some urgent things are not so important, right? And some important things may not be urgent. So it's important to be mindful of that. And then second is the ability to say no without feeling guilty.
Oh, that's
That's
very
very
difficult.
yeah. And then being able to delegate or basically the importance of you know the basic question I try to ask myself is that this task is it if it's done by someone else and it can be done better by that person, is it the case? So if so, then I should not do it
Oh,
myself. I should
mm,
ask that person to do it, and he will do it better than me.
Oh, that's very important, but very difficult to find, right? So,
Yeah, I know. It's for me to time to
yeah,
practice. I
right.
have to be conscious about making decisions.
Right. Okay. So then, so, okay. Okay, so this is the last question. So, what is the most rewarding part of your job?
I think the most rewarding part is the being able to mentor and train students. So students come from like bringing their own skill set and abilities and try to grow them. Help them to acquire new skill, new knowledge, and seeing them grow, and then seeing them how they become basically your friends after graduation. They keep in touch, keep in contact. That's I think the most rewarding part, which I think what academia you know is having abundance in that mentoring aspect.
I see. This is my personal last question.
Sure,
So,
sure.
so you have a lot of work and then you achieved a lot. Then, how do you relieve stress? Do you have any hobby or some
Hobby.
personal, personal like
Yeah, yeah.
trick to relieve your stress?
That's a good point. I think my family is was help me balance. So I when I was a PhD student, I already had one daughter, and then when I started my academic career, I had two daughters. So I couldn't, like uh, work my entire life could not be centered just around work
Right.
if I want to keep my family. So it helped me to kind of like balance. It's not easy,
Family
but
actually
it's
helps.
still it still helps me in that regard. I didn't have a lot of hobbies, just a little bit
Too
time here
easy.
and there. I like to travel. For example, I make priority for that with family. Now I'm in a different states. The kids already left home, etc. So I can pursue other hobbies, right? Yeah. So for example, my hobby, I play music.
Oh,
I
what kind of
do
instrument?
guitar.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Oh, that's nice. I would like to listen to that.
Yeah. And then I do ballroom dancing, which is
Oh,
fun.
wow,
Yeah,
wow, that's
yeah.
nice.
And yeah, I live in Florida, so I enjoy the outdoor. I do kayaking,
Oh,
canoeing, that kind of thing.
nice.
Look at the what is that, natural springs,
Right.
kayak there, etc.
Oh, sounds nice. Thank you so much for your time. And
Oh,
then, yeah, thank you.
yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.